Well, today on Paulette's Paper Play, I have been playing with Stamperia's Furry Friends, and there are 8x8 papers, there are die cuts, and there's a lot of fun to be had with these. So won't you please, well, wait a minute, let me show you something. There you go. You've got kitties and you've got puppies and all sorts of things. So now, won't you please come play with us? Okay, well, I'm going to go through the papers and I'll show you a few of the die cuts, but there's one. And let me scoot this over. And the artist is Anthony, I'm not even going to try his last name, but he is, or Antonius, does a lot of work with Stamperia, and he is just a darling man. So let me show you these. It's a very different look from him, because he normally does the Voyager artwork, which is just gorgeous and very kind of steampunky. This is obviously not steampunk at all. A lot of cutouts on the inside of the front cover. You are unique. There is one sheet of each, so that does cause you to think, now how am I going to use this? What am I going to do? As I said, we've got puppies, and back of that we've got a house. I'll show you that. So this is a sheet I used, blossoms, and blossoms on the back, and we've got puppies here, and another one, and there you go. Just a lot of really fun art, and then all of these cutouts, very simple to cut out. One side has the heavier art, the back side is a little bit lighter, so it leaves you room if you want to use that. All of these tags, let's see, 4 times 3 is 12, and then again, same thing with the back side, and then these are cutouts. So just a lot of choices to be made. Now, with the die cuts, I'm thinking that there are 50 here, but I don't see anything on the package that tells me. But you're going to get cats, you're going to get dogs, you're going to get other dogs, you're going to get a bird, a couple birds, you're going to get some flowers, and these are true to Stamperia's, they're heavyweight. And so anyway, so let me just show you what I did with this and encourage you to get a hand. Now, we're going to get in closer so we can see these very nicely. And this is using a die, and it is the circle stand-up card. Then you can see that it's standing up, and it is like this. And you can see, and I use the die cuts heavily because they just add so much to this. And in doing this particular die, let me just show you. This is a fabulous folded die, so you know you can only get it from us. And it has all these pieces. So you can do the balloons and the birthday, happy birthday. I didn't use those. Okay. But you do use this piece, which is right here. I don't want to get these pieces lost. Okay, and what happens is that you place this on the fold of a card. Okay, so you're going to take your cardstock, fold it, and then place these two shoulders where your fold is. They're not going to cut, so don't worry. And die cut it, and then you're going to have the two pieces, okay? And in the dies, you will also have this little strip that you're going to cut, and that ends up being the piece that's going to hold these two sections from splitting and falling, falling down. So that's going to be done. You want to hold that with extra sticky tape. That will work well. And then you're going to have, as I said, you're going to have these donut shapes, and you're going to have a circle shape, okay? Those are all in the cutting dies. So let me scoot these back into the package so I don't lose them. Now, what I wanted to do in using the paper and the die cuts is I wanted a warm brown. I wanted kind of a milk chocolate brown. So I went into Be Happy 12 by 12 solid cardstock, and this is the brown, and it just worked so beautifully with the pieces of art. So that's what I used on this card. And I die cut the brown, as you can see, and attached that piece, and the directions are going to be right there. And then you're going to take the circle, and I die cut that out of, let me just show you because I saved the paper. Okay, so here's one of the papers in there. Let me turn it this way. So you can see this is where I die cut the front of this, because I wanted to get that little dog, especially having him look up at this piece. Then I used the circle up above where it gave me all of these diamonds, these blue diamonds, and I just thought that worked really well. Then I've got the donuts, the brown donut on the front and on the back, which stabilizes that circle. And then I attached it to my card front, which just worked really, really well. Okay, does that all make sense? Okay. So I made the card out of the brown, but then I used another piece out of the card, out of the paper pad, to do the front, both fronts, this piece and that piece. Okay. Then I looked at what I wanted to put. Well, of course, I already knew what I wanted to put, and I did the puppy. He is foam taped 2 layers. This is just there, it's just been glued down. The little bone is glued down. And I cut out the Be Happy, that is one of the cutouts, and foam taped it down below. And I can write my message on the back, and then this will go into our 10 envelopes. That way it's going to fit quite perfectly, doesn't have to worry me. And I wanted a little bit more embellishment, so I added, this is our brown and gold border dazzles, so you can see right on the edges. I just thought that added just a little bit of polish. I did a little bit on the top also. So now I could have used one of the cats. Yes, I probably wouldn't have used the Bon Appetit, but there's something else in there. So you can see that these are really generously sized and just fit quite nicely. So there's my first card. Now my second card, I wanted to show you the paper. So let me find it in here. And, you know, like I said, that was the thing that had me looking at this the most. So you can see on the front of this, it's got all of those cats. Well, this is the sheet that I used on my card front. And it says, surprise, we all came to sing on your birthday. May all your wishes pile up like pillows. Surprise. I thought that was really, really cute. And you can see that I used from the patchwork area, and I wanted to catch friends down here. Whoops. Nope. I didn't go that far. I just went to surprise. So that's what I had to do there. Okay, so you can see that that's the area that I did, the light area. So I covered my 5 by 6.5 inch card with this paper. I'm going to scoot this over. And then this is one of the die cuts. It is just this whole happy group. Now, when I cut my first card, because I have 2 brown donuts, I also have 2 brown circles. Well, why not use those, I said to me. So and I haven't done this before, so it was really fun. I glued that down, and then I put my die cut on top. And I think it just does a really nice job of separating them from the background, even though that background is light, and giving them some punch, which I really liked. And I thought it was interesting because normally I would think, gosh, I'm going to cover something all the way behind them, maybe do an arch out of the brown. but I didn't want those circles to go to waste, and I didn't. I used them on this card, and I used them on the next card too. So also I let surprise, now I didn't center it, I let it go off the side and go onto the card itself. And so does it feel like I cheated? That there's just paper and the circle from the other card and 2 of the die cuts. Really fun. Now on the inside, I used the rest of that. So remember, I only took it from here over. So I had on the other side of the paper this whole piece. And that's what I used on the inside of my card. So turn your paper over because there's going to be something fun on the other side. And all these numbers are in the die cuts. And I just thought, if this is a birthday, let them figure out and play with the numbers. You know, are they 16, 17, 25, 34, 54, 23, 75? How old are they? Well, you can play with those however you want and write your message down below. So I thought that would be just a very cheerful thing for anyone to get on their birthday. Okay, my next card. Yes, see, I had one more brown circle to use, and I loved how this cat just fit in that circle. Now this paper is the black paper. Now I did not use any of these pieces, and my Be Happy came from the front of the paper pad. Okay, so there's the black and white. Let me find that whole sheet for you. And sure, it's going to be in the back, isn't it? There it is. So that's the sheet. And I wanted to let the white show up because there's white in here and there's white on the cat. So I cut this down, and when I do that, as you know, my card is 6.5 by 5, so I cut my paper down 1/2 inch. So when I cut it to be 6 inches by 4.5, then when I center it on my card, I've got a nice border all the way around. Okay, got that? So 1/2 inch smaller. If you want a less generous border, then just make your paper bigger. But I like that. I did want to use this edge, and I thought that was fun. So I started trimming there. And I did ink the edges, as you can tell. So on the black, I used charcoal and my blending brush and just did that all the way around the edge and then glued it to my card front. Now, thinking that this is black and white primarily, but there's a little bit of brown. So my brown circle works really well right there. Now my cat hanging in that potted plant is just glued down straight. The day is yours as the surprise as it goes over the edge, and I like that. And to add just a little decorative flair, I used the black thin line dazzles and did the scallop around the edge. And you will find, in fact, probably on all of my directions, I list the small scissors. I just find them invaluable for trimming dazzles, for any sort of cutting that you're doing that is more detailed. So highly recommend those. Okay. Now, going to the inside of my card, I went for brown, and that was that first sheet of the paper pad right there. And I had no problem having it black on the front and brown on the inside. But you know, I looked at that art and I just thought, it's perfect. It's just really fun. Now you did see, because I had that piece out when we started, that you've got, you are unique. I chose not to use that. I chose just to use the paper. And I trimmed this, again, the same size, 4.5 by 6. And this time I used the cocoa bean on the outside edge. And I think that just does a nice job of making a frame around it. I wanted to get silent companionship in there. And I wanted to, certainly to get the cat, words cat, as well as the you are unique. So all of that. I did sacrifice the bird, as you'll notice. So I inked the edges, glued it down, and then this time, these are actually brown thin line dazzles, and they came out of the thin line primary set. And there are 6 sheets, blue, yellow, brown, green, red, and black. So you can get all of those in that one set right there. Okay, so that's 3 cards. Now, let me go to my 4th one, and it's this one, Sunshine and Smiles, with all of that. Oh, this little guy is not supposed to be there. Okay, oh, piffle. Okay, well, there we go. Okay, so Sunshine and Smiles, and then you open it, and I've got a bird, and I've got a kitty, and I've got Home Sweet Home. Now, this comes from this pack of heart pop-out cards. You get 4 cards and 4 envelopes, and the card is 2 pieces. So one piece is the heart, and you just pop that out of the backing, and the other is the card itself. It's a gatefold, and then you pull this piece out of the center, and you have, let me do that, and you have 2 little tabs, a tab at the top, a tab at the bottom, and that is what your heart is going to slip into, just like this. And it's probably good to show this to you, you know, with Valentine's Day around the corner. And so you can see it's a pop-up, and it will stand up, which is fun. And I did a couple of extra things with this. So knowing I had the gatefold, and you'll notice that I cut my paper so that I could still, so that the art still continues. And you will probably remember seeing that because it was such a different color combination than the others. And here it is. Okay, so there's the whole sheet. So I positioned it so that I could get the Home Sweet Home at the top. Now, this is one of the die cuts, Sunshine and Smiles. It has the bird. Now, going to the inside, okay. Now, that heart, I wanted to make it stand out because when this large die cut that they have, and teal seemed to be the right color. So teal is what I used, got my blender brush, and I simply inked the heart. And then I decided what I wanted to do with the rest of it. So on the first panel, so I have done my front of my card here, I took that strip and simply glued it in place. Now, I wanted to use the little blue bird, but he was a little bit wider than this piece, so I could position him so that his tail would be off the card, but would be hidden by this piece. So that worked fine for me. I didn't have anything to go under the cat. I just didn't want him to put the cat, well, I was out of paper to begin with, but I didn't want him to get lost. So I just inked all of that, did it lightly here, and glued him down. Okay, so I've got a bird and a cat. Now for this, okay, so I'm out of this paper, and I do see this. So they've got flowers here, and there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are several flower die cuts, but I really wanted to use this big house. I just thought it was really fun. And I decided to put this paper behind it as long as I had this colored. Does that make sense? Because when I, maybe you can kind of see it. When, let's see. Yeah, because if I put this down here, you kind of don't see it because it's all the same colors. And I'd like that person who's running their car next to our offices to stop it. Okay, so I didn't want that color to be that you couldn't see the house. So that's why coloring this with the teal just worked well. But I really did like this paper. And so I used the flower part of it and simply covered both of those strips. But the center strip has to stay unpapered because I need it to hold my heart. But what I did do, and hopefully you can see it, let me show you. Okay, do you see how this shows the V of the heart and this shows, well, I guess that's a V also. Well, what I did is I took some low-tack tape and I held it down there and I kind of traced that V off of my big heart. Okay, come here, big heart. Okay, so I traced it onto my low-tack tape, then cut it out, and then I put that over the little tab. And I did the same thing at the top, so that when I inked it, I got it darker here and here, and lighter in the place that I want, where I wanted it lighter. Okay, so when I put this back, it lines up. And it's a detail. You may not want to bother with that, but I like doing it, and I thought it made it just a little different. So, and I did like having the teal there, so that this whole piece is teal. And I thought it just stood out very nicely against all the pattern. The pattern is fun, but in this case, it was kind of overwhelming against the cat and against the house. But it worked well for the bird. And there's another die-cut bird in there also, so that just was good. Where would you write your message? Well, you could write it up here. You could write it on the back of the card itself, just whatever you like. But that I was very pleased with. So you've got, as I said, oh, I know what else I was going to say, is that you could, like the Home Sweet Home was a strip. I just cut it apart and glued it. Could have added joy. That would have fit. Or I could have put that in the front. And just to give, no, I guess not. Okay, you can see how I was just going to show you that pattern next to the house, but you can kind of see it. Okay, so that is my last card. So as I said, it was a lot of fun. Now, I think there are 50 die cuts, but you see I used them heavily, and I still have, I think, 28 or 30 of them left, so that's very nice to know. So furry friends, it was very, very fun to play with. I still have more that I could do, and want to recommend it to you. Okay, so I have a money saver. I did put the Be Happy cardstock in with it because the brown, I just felt did such a good job of going with it. And so I wanted to make sure that you had that available. And I did write out the directions. They are down below. Just click on the card. You'll see that. You can print them out if you want to. And I think you're going to have lots of fun with this. And it was really fun to see Antonius doing something different. So that was good. If you're watching us on YouTube, I would love it if you would head on over to paperwishes.com. Check out that money saver on the right-hand side of your screen. Leave any comment you would like to. You don't have to make a purchase in order to leave a comment. It's just scroll down, 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 down. It's really far down, and you can leave a comment, and I appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed this. I did have a great time, and I hope you like the fact that I used those brown circles in many cards and in some fun ways, I think. Okay. I guess that's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.